Welcome to Football with Cheese. So in this video, we are going to recap the Washington Commanders, Washington football team. I like to call them the Washington Redskins. That's what they were when I grew up. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite? Commanders, football team, or Redskins? I wish they would just switch back. All this politically correct nonsense is crazy. But Washington went 12-5. They were a surprise. No one expected them to not only make the playoffs, but to get within one game of the Super Bowl. Definitely the most improved team in the NFL because they picked second in the draft. I mean, they were the second worst team record-wise the year before. So they get in the playoffs as a wild card. Eagles won the division. And they won a hard-fought game at Tampa, 23-20, which maybe is a mild surprise. Tampa, more of a veteran team, thought they'd win, but not too much of a surprise. Washington had the better record in the regular season. So they go to Detroit, huge underdogs, and whooped the shit out of them. I guess it was 45-31, but Washington played awesome. The offense was amazing. The defense forced turnovers. Played maybe the favorite to win it when the postseason started, Detroit Lions, and just hit them in the mouth and played amazing. Best game they played all year. So after that game, you're thinking, wow, they're hot, they're young, Jaden Daniels is playing amazing. Can they do it? Then they go on the road at division rival Philadelphia, and the Eagles exposed all the weaknesses for this Washington team. The Eagles were better on the offensive line. They're better on the defensive line. Washington didn't tackle well. Saquon Barkley was just torturing them. It was just bad. 55-23, I believe the score was. But it was an amazing season for Washington. I know it ended poorly. You didn't want to lose like that. But you got to be optimistic if you're a Washington fan going forward. You have Jaden Daniels for 4 more years on a rookie contract, so you can use your cap room elsewhere. That's a huge advantage. In free agency, they traded for Laramie Tunsil and Deebo Samuel. Laramie Tunsil is a left tackle. Very good pass blocker. One of the best pass blocking left tackles in the game. Here's the problem. He's been traded twice. Left tackles as talented as Tunsil, as talented and productive as Tunsil, don't get traded twice or even once. So he obviously has some issues. Apparently the Houston Texans just want him out of the locker room. He was famous for falling in the draft because someone put a video of him smoking weed with a gas mask on draft day. Dolphins still took him, later traded him to Houston a few years later. So apparently Tunsil can be a distraction in the locker room. We'll see what happens, but Washington really needed a left tackle, so I understand why they made the move. Deebo Samuel, same thing. They need another playmaker on offense besides Terry McLaurin. And Deebo had worn out his welcome in San Francisco. There was some conditioning issue rumors, and they're very likely accurate. If you saw the minicamp for Washington, Deebo Samuel looked chunky. He looked like a jugger. He put on weight. I hope he can lose it before camp. And if he doesn't lose the weight, that will take away from his playmaking ability. When Deebo's healthy, he's a really dynamic player. Maybe not as dynamic as he used to be, but if he can lose the weight, this could be a great move. They moved on from Jonathan Allen, defensive lineman. He had trouble staying healthy. The big questionable move to me for Washington was signing Javon Kinlaw. He's a defensive tackle, giving him $15 million per year. I guess they had a ton of cap room. Let's use it. But Kinlaw's just not a very good player. He's a horrible run defender. He's a maybe above average pass rusher from the interior. But $15 million a year? I don't think he was worth half that. Maybe they think they can get something out of him. He didn't do much for the Jets last year. We'll see what happens. But I really like the moves to re-sign Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz. Both those guys have been really good players for years. Not the players they used to be. Obviously, they're both in their 30s now, but good locker room guys. Bobby Wagner's still a very good run defender, and both of them play well in the postseason. They lost Diami Brown to the Jaguars. He's a wide receiver. Washington wasn't going to pay him $10 million a year. If you don't know who Diami Brown was, he was a second-round pick at North Carolina 4 years ago and never lived up to the hype until late in the season, the postseason, he played really well. Like all of a sudden, he started playing really well. Jaguars took a chance on him. Washington moved on. Instead, they traded for Debo. In the draft, I think they did very well. They only had 5 picks. I'm going to go over 3 of them. Josh Connolly Jr. was a first-round pick. He's an offensive tackle from Oregon. Like the value here. He's versatile. He played left tackle at Oregon. He's going to play right tackle for Washington. I think it's a good move to play him on the right side. He doesn't necessarily have the length you want in a left tackle. I think he can back up there if Tunsil gets hurt. But if he doesn't work out at tackle, I think he could play guard as well. He's a versatile player, very high character as well. In the second round, they took Trey Amos, cornerback from Ole Miss. This was a steal. I saw some, not a lot, but some mocks had him actually sneaking in to the first round. One of them had the Rams taken. The Rams ended up moving back and taking a tight end. I did not think Trey Amos was going in the first round, but a lot of second-round mocks after the first round was over had him going in the 30s, like early second round. I think I did as well. I'd have to look back at my second-round mock, but he goes at pick 61. He's a great press corner, man. He ran a 4.43, and he was productive in the SEC. What more do you want? Maybe there was some injury issue. I might have heard a rumor about that, but that could be an absolute steal, and they needed to get another corner. And then I want to mention their 7th-round pick, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He's a running back from Arizona. Only played 1 game because of concerns over eligibility. But he's just one of those guys that's good enough size, fast enough, good enough receiver. He's just good, or above average at everything. He's going to make this team. I had him 101 on the board. They got him at pick 245. Another steal. So undrafted free agent I want to mention is Tim McKay. He's a guard from NC State. He's not a great athlete. That's one of the reasons he wasn't drafted. The other was he got hurt this past year, so I think that hurt him as well. But he should have been drafted just because he's productive and he's versatile. Look for him to back up at multiple positions on the offensive line. Important players. Obviously, got to mention Jaden Daniels. He was the 2nd overall pick in the 2024 draft. The best player in the draft. I said this before in other videos. I'm going to say it again. I had him ahead of Caleb Williams. Not many people did, but Daniels had the best season a rookie has ever had at the quarterback position, Rookie of the Year. He is an absolute home run. Washington is set up so well for the future. Laramie Tunsil, we just mentioned, left tackle. Sam Cosmi, got to mention him. He's the right guard, one of the better right guards in the NFL when healthy. He tore his ACL against Detroit. So I don't know when he's coming back, but probably mid-season at the earliest. So we'll see what happens at position until he's back. Could be a liability. Terry McLaurin, we mentioned. He's one of the best 10 or 15 wide receivers in the NFL. I'd say top 15 for sure. I think he wants a new contract. I hope he comes to camp. That could be a mess there, but pay the dude. I don't know what he wants. If he wants $40 million, okay, maybe not. But if he wants $35 million, pay him. Because he is an absolute stud. He had a great postseason. And then we mentioned Deebo Samuel. They need him to lose weight. But when healthy, he is one of the best gadget wide receivers in the NFL. And on defense, we mentioned Bobby Wagner, the veteran. And let's talk about the cornerback room. We mentioned they drafted Trey Amos to play on the outside. They have Marshawn Lattimore as well. They got him in a trade with the Saints. Didn't have the best year last year. They need him to bounce back and play like a number 1 corner again. And they drafted Mike Sanderstill in the 2nd round, I believe, last year's draft. He is a slot corner. So if Amos works out, and Lattimore can bounce back. You got Sanderstill, which is a very good pick in the slot. This could be a really good cornerback room. Breakout players, I'm going to mention 2. Jerzon Newton, he's a defensive tackle from Illinois. He was an early 2nd-round pick last year. Didn't have the best rookie year. Some games he looked pretty bad, but a couple of games he looked really good. He's a great interior pass rusher. Let me leave it at that. Not a great run defender. He's never going to be a great run defender, but he just got to stay healthy, but he can be a big-time disruptor in the interior. Then I want to mention Brandon Coleman. He is an offensive lineman from TCU. He was a 3rd-round pick last year. I studied him a lot, watched a lot of his film because I thought he was a good fit for my favorite team, the Green Bay Packers. I thought they may draft him. So Washington drafts him and put him in left tackle last year, and he struggled big time. I always thought he was a better fit at guard. I thought left guard would be his best position when he was drafted, and that is very likely where he's going to play. And he'll get to play next to Laramie Tunsil. I think he's going to have a breakout year because he's a phenomenal athlete. And I just want to mention this. The safeties looked terrible in that game against the Eagles. They moved on from Jeremy Chin and they signed Will Harris from the Saints. And they have Quan Martin. But Harris and Martin to me are just average at best, maybe even below average. I really thought they'd improve the safety position either in free agency in the draft. So it's something to watch going into the season. So their outlook. Well, I'll just say this. It's going to be a really good stretch for Washington. They were really bad for over 20 years. They had the wrong people in place. The owner, Dan Snyder, was horrible. Bad owners hire bad front office people who draft the wrong people, who hire the wrong head coach. And that's basically what it's been like since Dan Snyder became the owner. He sold the team. Josh Harris is a much better owner, and he hired Adam Peters to run the front office. And all of a sudden, they've turned it around. Starting with the 2024 draft, taking Jaden Daniels, and it's gone amazing since. In the 2022 first round, they took Jahan Dotson, wide receiver, Penn State, awful pick. And they took Emmanuel Forbes in the 2023 draft first round, cornerback from Mississippi State, awful pick. Neither is on the team. And that is the old regime, though. This new regime doing so much better. So they went 12-5 last year. It's going to be tough to win 12 games again. I know on paper they look better. I understand that. But the Cowboys should be better. The Giants should be better. The Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFL. They just won the Super Bowl. And they're playing a second-place schedule, not a last-place schedule. I talked to a few Washington fans, and they expect them to win 13, 14 games and compete for the Super Bowl. And we'll see, but that might not happen. They got hot in the playoffs. They were not as good as the Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, teams like that. They weren't. Let's remember, they got hot in the playoffs. They didn't have a top 10 roster in the NFL. Helps when you have an elite quarterback. So I think 10, 11 wins is realistic. What do you think, Washington fans? How many wins do you think your team will have? Make sure you subscribe if you have not. Hit the bell for notification. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow the channel. We cover all 32 teams. Check these out if you have not. And I'll see you in the next video all about the New York Giants offseason.